Hello, everyone. Welcome to our summit, Ignite the Leader in You. I am your host, Nora Gonzalez, and today we have Marguerite Orane. Marguerite is dedicated to changing the way we live and work so that we do so with joy. She coaches leaders in realizing the value that joy and happiness at work bring to people and profits. With over 30 years in strategy consultant and general management, Marguerite's commitment is to help leaders and their teams joyfully bring strategy to life to achieve their desired results. She is valued for her insights on leadership, strategy, entrepreneurship, and personal growth delivered in her own energetic, joy-filled way as a coach. Sorry, lost my spot. Facilitator, speaking, and her blogs. Her experience as an entrepreneur, a Harvard MBA, and her curiosity about the mysteries and delights of the world are the foundation of this work. So thank you, Marguerite, for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Nora. It's such a joy to me.
I love that you talk about joy because I feel it's something that we eventually forget because it gets buried under busyness, under chores, and procrastination. We take all that and bury joy underneath it. So we kind of forget to bring it out. So thank you for that.
That's so true. You hit the nail on the head. It gets buried. And it's there all the time.
Yes, it's there to access and we forget and we just don't, we're so stuck on the other side that we don't make it to the joy side.
So true, absolutely. And life just flows so easily when you make the decision and the commitment, which is what I think it is, to be joyful wherever you are. It's not easy, but when you make that commitment, that's a good start. And it's something that can change every single situation that you're in to make it even a little bit better. So it's like taking a little joy pill, but it has no terrible side effects, only good side effects.
And I like how you phrased it as a commitment, because we may think about it, but unless we commit to doing it or to getting there, to taking, I'm sure you're going to help us like how to get there so that we are in it as opposed to the other side of
we
things.
have to be patient with ourselves, Nora, because when you look at a baby, babies are just joy. It's hard to look at a baby and not smile because there's just pure joy. Puppies, kittens, baby anythings are just joy. And so I believe we are born that way, just full of joy and expressing joy. And then stuff happens and people tell us things. And after a while, as you said, I love the way you put it, that the joy just gets buried. And that happens over a lifetime. So our commitment is to start noticing and to start peeling away the stuff that we have accumulated over a lifetime. And are we going to mess up? Absolutely. Because, you're talking about getting rid of stuff that you've packed in a suitcase every day and put it on your shoulder or in your hand and taken with you. And you don't just put it down that lightly. You might put it down in 1 minute and then there's a trigger and you pick it back up again, So it's a daily practice. I endeavor to be joyful every day and every moment. I can tell you, I mess up. Sometimes I'm walking past a mirror and I just will go like this. I'm like, whoops, that's not a very joyful face. Or my children will remind me, Mommy, you're not being very joyful right now. So it just takes patience. But first, the commitment that it's something that you want to rediscover about yourself.
Yes, I love that. And then having those reminders is a great thing to have. And then I liked what you said too, because it can, if you don't have joy, say you don't have joy at home, it's so easy for that to move over into your workspace and then do the same thing there. And then, then you're not leading from joy, you're leading from other areas.
That's one of the challenges that we face in the workplace. And my work is really what I feel called to do is help people to be joyful at work, because we spend more than half of our waking hours at work. We're spending half of our lives at work. Either, if you think about it, you wake up in the morning, you start to get ready. It takes you a while to get ready for work. Then you have to commute to work. Then you're at work. Then you commute from work. That's a lot of hours. And so it's so important that we are joyful at work, and we reclaim that. Now, one of the challenges we have been faced with are managers, I won't call them leaders, who tell us to leave our personal lives out of work. That's nonsense. When we take our whole selves with us wherever we go. And so one of the things I help leaders to do is just to accept their people exactly as they are, coming in with all their foibles and their baggages and their personal problems. That's who they are. And to help them to deal with those things so that they can experience and unearth that joy that has been hidden for them. So there are lots of myths around joy and work and life at work. In my book, there's no such thing as work-life balance. There is life. Work is an integral part of life. And for a truly joyful life, work has to be joyful. When we talk about work-life balance, what we're saying is that there's life here and work here. And then we feel divided, we feel conflicted. When we say, oh no, work and life, work is a part of life, and I approach it in a joyful way, then we will start to find our joy wherever we are, including at work with that miserable boss, that pesky co-worker, the customer that yells at us. It's how we view it that matters.
Wow. I love how you put them together, because it does create separation, and then you feel like you have to have one or the other.
Yes.
Or you know, one thing I've realized is that when we do that, then you're thinking of showing up 50% in both to keep it balanced, but you're not really showing up 100% in either one of them.
Anywhere, exactly. And then you become resentful. And you become resentful of work. Why do we resent work? It's a fundamental need that human beings have in terms of making their way in through the world and in the world. And you know, if you speak to people who have lost their job, or even people who have retired without any kind of plan, you'll understand how important work is. And so it's so important, it should be joyful. It's a very, very important part of our life, because it's how we add value to the world. No matter the job, no matter how menial we might think it is a way of adding value. You know, Nora, many years ago, I've done work with schools in their area of strategy and culture. And I remember doing, as part of the strategy, engaging the entire staff. And a group of staff members, what we called in Jamaica, where I'm from, and did this work, are what we call the ancillary staff, the cleaners. And they said, well, you know, we don't see ourselves in this strategy at all. And we had this conversation. I said, well, if the children come to school in a dirty classroom, can they learn? And they're like, no. Can the teacher teach effectively if the classroom is messy? No. I'm like, right. And they got it, how important their job is to the ultimate noble aim of teaching and education. And so that was a very pivotal moment for me to say, you know something, work really is important to us all.
Yes, I think that's a great example that you gave, because there are times when we feel like we don't matter to the, you know, not the company, but to the big picture. We feel like we're so, I don't want to say we're at the bottom, but we're doing such a small task. At least that's how we feel, right? because we show up and we do the same thing every day. So at some point we are going to feel like we don't matter or we don't make a difference.
Yes. Wow. And it's to know, I think joy is also about knowing that you matter to someone. So maybe you're in an organization and you're working and you feel like you're cog in a wheel, which is quite normal because that's how our organizations have been designed, cogs in a wheel, just do the work kind of thing. But you know what? If you can help a customer solve a problem, there is so much joy in that. Mm-hmm. If you can help another coworker deal with a particular issue they may be having at work or wherever, if you can be just pleasant and maybe smile, it makes a huge difference to everything, and makes a huge difference to your world and your ambit, and it just makes a huge difference to everything. So it doesn't have to be big rah 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 joy. It can be quiet, but it's just about being pleasant within yourself and recognizing how important you are. Because once you recognize how important you are, no one can take that away from you. No one can take that away from you. No. Recognizing your importance is not the same as being arrogant. Self-awareness. So I am important, but it does not mean that the organization cannot do without me, that I'm indispensable and that leads to arrogance. So it's knowing that, yes, I'm valuable and I contribute to this world in a good way. And then do it. Mm-hmm.
I had an epiphany as you were speaking, because I liked what you said that, when you help that customer, it's bringing joy. And what it made me realize is that joy is always there. We just don't see it. We're so focused on, follow the script, or like what you said right now, I want to be seen as the leader, so then I'm going to do this, or I've been here for so long, so I'm going to do that. And we forget that there's joy in all those pieces. Even when you said helping someone on your team, if they're stuck, the joy that you're bringing them, right? Because you're helping them, but there's also internal joy because you're being of service as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it always strikes me how many little things one can do. So I play this game. It used to infuriate my children when they were young. We go to a fast food restaurant and, it's the cashier kind of, cog in a wheel type of thing. And I'd say to my children, I said, watch me make her smile. And they're like, oh, mommy, no, please. And I would go up to the counter with my brightest smile, and invariably there's a name tag, right?
Yes.
And when there's a name tag, whenever you see a name tag, call the person's name. Because what it says, I have noticed you as a human being, not just as a cog in the wheel. And I say, hi, how are you today, Nora? And instantly smile.
Yes.
And just that. So I hardly ever get bad service. No, I don't, because because I approach it in a way that's joyful. And so, even if they want to give me bad service, I am going to turn it around. I'm at least going to make them be pleasant, even if the service itself is bad.
Yes.
So much power we have within ourselves when we approach it. So joy comes from the commitment, the heart, and it also comes from the head as well, our attitudes. Yes. What are things that we have been told that we believe about joy, that we believe about work? Work is grinding, we're cogs in the wheel, we don't matter, we only work for money. So many things that we have been told about work, and very few of those things that we've been told about work are joyful. Most of them are negative. We have to get out of that. We spend too much time at work. And I think leaders have a very important role to play in that. First of all, they need to be joyful. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Because you can't walk into work in the morning Okay, be joyful, people.
You can't expect joy out of that.
Doesn't work at all. So yeah, you got to model it, because the beautiful thing about it, it's contagious. You know, people see you and they, oh, Marguerite, why are you so happy today? I'm always happy.
Yes.
I go back into my experiences, but I have a client and I was doing a workshop with them, and this particular woman walks in, you know, she says, oh my gosh, I just know Marguerite is going to come with her happy, joyful self today. And I'm like, yes, you will. You know me well. And she just brightened up. She hadn't had her coffee yet.
But you know, it's amazing how many people don't have joy, even a laughter or something to laugh at, and starting your day like that is, I mean, it really like it makes up for the whole day, and maybe it sets it to be that kind of a day, having that moment.
So I in terms of the how to, and I'm sure
Yes.
really want to know, okay, Marguerite, yeah, you've convinced me maybe, but boy, this joy thing is hard. So I absolutely advocate and I practice a deliberate morning joy routine. And there are three aspects of it: mind, body, and spirit. That's, you know, the trilogy, if you will.
Yes.
And no matter how rushed you are, take the time for that. One of my coaching clients, he always laughs and quotes me because he says, well, when I was trying to get him to do his morning routine, which he now does, and he says, well, I didn't have time for it because I was late. I said, Kevin, if you're late, you're late. You're late. So just slow down and do your morning routine. So I advocate that you deliberately design a morning routine or a morning ritual, something that you do for yourself before you do anything for anyone else. In other words, take care of yourself first. You know that thing when you board the airline and they say your oxygen mask on first, literally. So when you wake up, make sure you do something for your body. Move, whether it's yoga or stretching, or just go outside and breathe deeply, or running, or whatever. Mind, affirmations, reading, writing, journaling. And spirit, some quiet, meditative, or if you're a praying person, some prayer time. Those three. And map out and design what they are. And then when you do that, so you figure out how long that's going to be. So you might say, okay, it's going to be an hour. And then you said, oh, how can I spare an hour every morning? Well, you can wake up earlier. Oh, how can I wake up even earlier? Yes, you can. Or you can make a shorter time. So when I start my clients and people in my workshops on this program, I say, just take 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. If you can't do an hour, just do 10 minutes. And they start with what you can do. And you start with that 10 minutes and you do it, mind, body, and spirit. And then that provides you with a foundation. You've taken care of yourself. Now you can go and help others, your children, your spouse, your family, people on your way to work, and the people at work. So that is very, very important. Oh, and one other thing. Do not check your technology before you do your morning ritual. And that's a point at which when I mentioned that in workshops, people go, oh, yes. Don't bring in the problems of the world into your mind before you have taken care of yourself. Because what you see out there, first of all, you can't do anything about what has happened and what's in the news. So why let it, disturb the way you're being first thing in the morning? So that's very, very important part of the morning routine.
Yes. Now, could you help us like creating a routine for like when you get to work?
Okay, so few things for you to do. When you get to work, just slow down. As I said, if you're late, you're late, okay? But take a breath. I believe in the importance of the breath. that exhale. So at your desk, I don't know if you can see, but you'll see him right there. You see all those stuffed toys?
Yes.
I love them. People said, why don't you take down the stuffed toys for these videos? I'm like, no, because that's part of my joy. So you'll notice things in my office. Here, there's there are affirmations that I've written up here. I have my son that I love, and the yellow wall. So I have designed my space. So they're physical reminders for me. No, not everyone can paint their wall yellow. But, can you put a little something on your desk that every time you look at it, something, a little photograph, a little animal. I have a little parade of tiny elephants at another desk that I work at. Whatever it is, that every time you just sort of move your eyes from your workspace, you see them right there. That just brings you back. Oh yeah, there's joy. So that's the second thing. So have these reminders. Take breaks. Take regular breaks. Get up, walk around. If possible, go outside. And definitely take lunch. I am appalled at how many people eat lunch at their desk. It's crazy. And they'll tell me, yeah, relax, I'm eating my lunch, but I'm at my desk. And no, get up, go somewhere, sit and eat quietly just for half an hour to take that break. So those regular breaks replenish you. If you do a lot of work on the computer, which so many of us do, there are lots of things. I mean, YouTube just amazing. There are all of these little videos that you can watch that show waterfalls. My personal break is puppies and kittens. I'm just forever looking at puppies and kittens because they just bring me joy, just looking at them. And I used to feel bad and guilty about it, but now I realize, when I take a puppy or a kitten break, I'm feeling good again. So there are those things. Now, what happens though when there's something really upsetting at work? Something blows up. So the first thing is breathe. That exhale. The inhale will take care of itself. We don't have to think about the inhale, but what we have to do is think about that exhale, a deep exhale. So I advocate that everybody go and learn how to breathe properly, because most of us breathe shallow from up here. So we're constricted. We're not getting the full amount of oxygen into our body and into our brains. So breathe, exhale. If you need, excuse yourself. And I've always said, wow, the bathroom is such a wonderful place. The washroom, just say, excuse me, I need to go to the washroom. I don't think there's anyone that says, no, you can't go to the washroom unless you're really working for the boss in hell, right?
Yes.
It's up there, right? But yeah, just take a break. Just move away from the situation physically. If you can't move away from it emotionally yet, move away from it. Compose yourself, cry if you need to, wipe your tears and come back and you're settled. Try not to respond in the moment, because that invariably means we're responding from a place of high emotion on our part as well as on the other person's part. And that's why the exhale is so important, just to take a breath. And then, this is where what I call mind tricks, or others call affirmations come in, or mantras, people might call them, things that say, just remind you, okay, Marguerite, relax and release. That's my most recent mantra that I'm using a lot. Relax and release, relax and release, relax and release. I'm using it for everything now, Nora.
That's great.
That work for you, just relax and release. I spoke to someone who was interested in coaching the other day, and I dug this blog about accepting people as they are, and the title of it was "Aso She Stay," is bless you, which is a Jamaican term for that is how she is. And when a Jamaican say, that's how she stay, it is a way of acknowledging, you know, something, we've just accepted them exactly as they are. And I was speaking to this American woman, you know, and she was an executive, and she's saying, you know, your blog has really helped me. I'm like, really? She said, yes. Whenever I'm sitting in a meeting and I'm, you know, starting to feel myself getting tense because, you know, this other person is pushing my buttons, I just remember and I just write down, so she stay. So there are things like that. Now, the fun of it, not everything that works for me is going to work for you. So the fun of it is to try things. So try what works for me, what I have suggested. If it's not feeling right for you, go find some other resources or make them up yourself. That's the joy of the journey. Try it. If it feels good, works, continue doing it. If it doesn't, try something else, you know, and don't get stuck in, oh, well, Marguerite said, you know, I'm to relax and release, but I'm having a real problem relaxing and releasing. What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. Just relax and release work for Marguerite. It may not work for Nora, and that's fine.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you for all that. I think that's great. I so agree with you that we have to start with ourselves and then we can do for others. So I think that's perfect. Most of us forget because we just want to give and give and give and give. Yeah. And then we deplete ourselves per se because we don't know how to re-energize.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. Wow, you've gave us a lot of information. And then I also know that you have a gift.
Yes, I do. So I drew up a list of 42, my joy toolkit, a few of which I've actually shared. And they're what I call 42 ways to get you out of your funk and into your joy. And so that will be available to our wonderful listeners because, you know, I just want everyone in the world to be joyful. I know it sounds like, oh, Marguerite, but yeah, I just really want everyone in the world to be joyful. Now, why 42? I don't know. I just started making a list one day and I ran out and stopped at that's a good place. So there's no magic number. And it's just some ideas. And what I do encourage is that everyone makes their own list. And in making the list, you know, you really think about what are the things that bring you joy in the moment, just some little things that just bring you joy so that whenever you notice yourself not feeling so joyful, you have something to reach for. So that's your toolkit. So I'll be sharing that with you, and I hope everyone uses it. And more, I hope that you drop me an email and let me know what you're doing in terms of your own joy toolkit, because maybe what I can do is to start making another toolkit based on, you know, the feedback I'm getting.
Yes, I think that's great. And like you said, everybody's got something different, so you'll be surprised what shows up for each other.
Yep, would be nice to get to 1,000, right?
Oh my God, yes. It shouldn't take that long, right? We just got to find the joy and then use it.
That's right. Absolutely. Yes.
I really enjoyed our interview, our conversation today, Marguerite.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I know our audience did too, and I hope that they not just take your gift, but also find it in themselves to add more to it.
Absolutely. And I'd be delighted if our listeners check me out at margueriteorane.com. I do a fortnightly blog that I absolutely love doing. And it's all around helping people to find joy at work, but more importantly, joy within themselves.
Thank you. I so appreciate everything you've done. Love you and have a great day. And then goodbye to our audience as well.
Bye, audience. Love you all.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, I don't want to close this because I